My friend down the street was eating a dog. I told him, add a little cumin to that. It's going to taste bad unless you add a little cumin. And you know what? He added the cumin and it tasted just like a taco. A dago, they're calling it. They're eating dagos.
Welcome to the very first Claymation Politics podcast. We hope you like to vote.
Voting. And we're back. We're in Clay.
It feels so good, like waking up after a long month's rest.
Clay hibernation is no joke.
No, Claybernation, we come out of that grumpier than a grizzly bear in Alaska.
It's so true. Well, here we are back in the clayverse to talk about the debate.
Well, I feel like, first of all, we should mention, or should we just never mention, the fact that you keep shape-shifting?
Yes, constant shape-shifting. I recently watched the whole season of The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, and it made me miss the boobs, honestly. I didn't like becoming normal of face or figure, so this feels right.
Big Can Sam is what they call you in the clayverse. And it just wouldn't make sense otherwise.
It just wouldn't make any sense.
Maybe this episode I can get some big cans.
Yeah, if you have any kind of dream aesthetic tweakments you'd like to make, I mean, now's the time.
It's all possible here.
Speaking of that, why is Trump still doing the same shade of spray tan? Like, he could get the best spray tans in the world. Like, there is simply no reason for him to continue choosing that shade of orange when everything's available to him, which tells me that he must, like, he likes it. That's his dream skin color.
Yeah, I mean, once you have your brand kind of figured out, and it's different, obviously, and unique, we all associate that sickly orange with him, so he's got a corner on the orange market. Who's he competing with? Like Ernie from Sesame Street? Like, come on, he's got it.
Yeah, almost no competition. And yeah, it is good. Brand consistency can be important, which is why obviously I've gone back to the boobs.
Yeah.
To everyone's delight. I was surprised anyone voted for me to not stay boob heavy when we did that poll.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's not so much about the boobs as it is that you made that yourself. And I feel like that's an important part of having a clavitar.
Yeah, it did feel like cheating having the nice little neat one that you made. I just didn't feel like me, you know?
So I'm still thinking about the Trump thing. Maybe it's not spray tan at all. Maybe he's just like super into carrots or something.
Yeah, that's true. I always see these hot girls on TikTok saying if you eat enough carrots, you'll get a slight orange hue to your skin. Maybe he's just diligent about eye health.
Yeah, maybe. He doesn't wear glasses, so it could be he just has incredible vision.
Oh yeah, do you think he has perfect vision? Oh, I guess everyone just gets LASIK if you're that rich.
Yeah. Should we check in on him about jaundice? Is that a concern?
Wouldn't that be covered by the president's health test that they make him do?
Oh, yes. And according to his physician, he is the most fit president or person to ever run for presidential office. So, wow.
Once again, just one of those lies where it's like, I'd maybe just shoot for like a middle of the road lie because that's just it's so far beyond. Obama was so young and we saw him slam that basketball. Like, no one's believing that. Just say he's fit enough to be president, which even that is a stretch and a lie that is kind of tough to swallow.
God, it was so hard to be a Republican during Obama era because every clip was just like, oh no, he's so cool. He's so articulate. People love him. He's so likable.
Yeah, but luckily the Mormon church trained you well to be averse to anything cool. Or to be like, if it's cool, then I'm not doing it because I'm too good for that.
Well, that's how you know I was a worldly heretic apostate who needed to go because I was like, Mitt Romney, not the move.
Mm-hmm. And that's continued to be true.
He has continued to not be the move.
Mitt Romney, still not the move. Although, I mean, I suppose it was nice having him stand up about the Trump stuff. We should probably get into the debate, huh?
I guess, if we have to. We could also talk about my trip to Magic Castle. I mean, the
do you have anything you want to share?
Oh, I mean, I did go to Magic Castle.
In California, right?
Yes.
And how did you feel? I mean, in my mind, you're a magician. So what was that experience like?
It was like coming home.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like when you die and you go through the tunnel and your ancestors are there to greet you. It's kind of like that, except for that the tunnel was a bookshelf that opens when you say the magic words. So that was kind of fun.
That's kind of like the escape room I went to that was not fun.
What is life but an escape room?
What is life but an escape room, truly?
The nice thing is if you just do nothing, you will inevitably escape. You always win from that perspective.
Yeah, so it's like there's no point trying to escape early, I think. Just ride it out. The timer will run out eventually.
Yeah. In the meantime, just eat, your garlic, cinnamon, veggies, and other healthy little
So key.
doodads to try to make your experience nice while you wait for your inevitable escape.
Yep, your astaxanthin so you can get that nice skin tone.
Why are we talking about politics when we could be talking about skincare? We started with skin, and here we go. We can just go right into it. Do you want to know how our skin looks so supple and clay-like?
Hiram. I still can't get over the fact that Skincare with Hiram said that he'd watched Self on the Shelf. That is so crazy to me.
And yet we have not collaborated, so riddle me that.
Collaborate. I don't know. Yeah, I think our channel is quite small for someone like Hiram, but he would be beautiful in clay.
He would be. In clay, in metal, in wood, in anything really. I think he shines.
Yeah, kind of just a beautiful man, yeah. Well, at least now we've got an SEO-friendly name we can put in the title.
Which is?
Hiram.
Hiram, are you still watching?
Skincare with Hiram and how it relates to the debate last night.
Skincare with Hiram. Well, what do you think about the debate last night?
Well, something I really liked was the representation that Trump gave to a lot of us ADHD queens with regards to, it's not always about having a plan. It's really just about having concepts of a plan. And I feel like that doesn't get a lot of presidential representation because typically presidential candidates do tend to have plans. But I loved that he wasn't ashamed to just be like, I've got concepts of a plan, okay? It's in the works. I'm mulling on it. It's a work in progress.
Yeah, definitely felt represented there. I mean, as someone who refuses to plan ahead in any scenario, like, it's good to just be like, oh, yeah, the most important job in the world. You can do that just on the fly, too. You don't have to think about it beforehand. You don't have to, forge meaningful relationships with other leaders or anything.
Well, I felt like it was really just highlighting that Trump's in his Dao De Ching era, where, he's not feeling the need to just be looking ahead. He's just fully trusting in the moment and that when a plan needs to present itself, it will. And I think that, again, inspiring to hear from a presidential candidate, just that in-touchness that he clearly has with the intuitive feminine.
True faith.
True faith.
In the unfolding of the universe.
Yeah, the ever-unfolding mystery. He's not afraid of it.
No, and the way he constantly manifests the reality that he desires to see born into the world. He's not upset about the fact that the things he say have no bearing in the real world. That's it's literally not what it's about. He's not being held captive by the shackles of reality. He's just I'm going to say whatever I want, and that's what reality is. And I think we could all learn a lot from that.
Yeah, I think he's been watching those manifestation girls on TikTok and he's really taken it to heart and it shows.
Absolutely.
And he's being the shade of orange he wants to see in the world.
My partner said to me during the debate was this is how I sounded when I was trying to get my parents to buy me a dog. It's it'll be so good. I will call him Kevin. He will be so nice. I'll take him on walks every day. It'll be so good. There's 90% of the neighbors are saying that they would like to see me walking a dog.
I just loved all the times where Kamala Harris would say something and he would just be kind of nodding yeah, you got me there.
I love that. He's so affirming.
I know. Completely egoless. When she was Donald Trump has been fired by 81 million people, you could see it in his eyes that he was just yeah, damn, she got me. That's a good one. He, as a roaster, he could just respect the roast.
Yeah, it was good to see that. We say he never takes accountability. He was just nodding along, agreeing with literally every roast that she had of him.
He was either just completely downturned face scowling or nodding. He was nodding for 50% of it, I felt.
Yeah. Can we talk about how scary he is when he's not interrupting constantly, when he's forced by technical intervention to not be able to talk over people. He just seems so brooding, like an evil Muppet. It's kind of scary.
Yeah, to me, it was evil child.
I prefer the familiar beast that's just always talking and always interjecting because you kind of know what to anticipate.
Yeah, it was very interesting that they did it. Have they done that before where they turn the mics off when it's not their turn to speak? Or is that like a unique innovation for debate specifically because of Donald Trump?
That's a new innovation.
So he's really driven the political system forward in that way.
Yeah.
Because before it was like we just imagined we would have presidential candidates that knew how to not interrupt. But he's saying, let's throw out the blueprint. He has concepts of a blueprint.
Yeah, he's created a better world for us to debate in.
I love when Kamala said something like, that's a bit rich coming from someone who's been prosecuted for national security crimes. And he's just nodding along. He's like, yeah, no, I have. And I'd do it again. I'm glad I did.
He's like, she said I'm rich. Even though they did shut the mics off, they're like, the mics will be off except in the allotted time. But then they just like let them do it anyway. They didn't like, there were no like hard cutoffs. They were off during the person's like main thing, but then afterward, they just kept going.
They let him spar a little bit.
And she starts saying something and he's like, excuse me, I'm speaking. And for a moment we were like, Trump is desiring genuine empathy. Look at that. He's like, see how it feels to be interrupted.
He's like the woman in the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives on the phone to her husband who's like, can you just see me as a person right now and hear me? Harrowing.
What were your favorite parts of the debate? I'll go first. Mine was they're doing transgender operations on illegal immigrants in prison. Because the whole time
he's why would you care?
I know, he's like fear-mongering about immigrants the whole time. Like they were just awful people, drug dealers and rapists and murderers Kamala is just inviting in with open doors into the country, and they're performing transgender operations on them. And it's like, if those are your enemies and that's the worst thing you can do for a person, shouldn't you be celebrating? Isn't that exactly what you want?
Yeah, right? I know, and I'm like, regular people can't afford to get like trans-related healthcare, but you think we have a universal healthcare system in prisons for trans-affirming, like, it's just insane. Yeah, that was beautiful. I've been loving all the memes about like the transgender alien in question. He also said that executing babies in the 9th month, which is just a stunning line, lots to play with there. And then I loved when the moderator was like, there is no state in the country where it's legal to kill a baby after it's born. Like, that had to be said.
He's so persistent. Even when she's like, bro, I own a gun and there's no one doing like post-birth abortions in the United States. And he's like, yes, you will, though. You are going to take our guns, and
I saw it on television.
And you will do it after birth, probably, he says.
Once again, such an interesting talking point, just the idea that they're killing babies after birth. I'm like, just do a more believable lie. Why do you have to take it to that extreme? You could just say they're doing it in month 8, which, like, we all know that elective abortions aren't happening in month 8, but just say that. That's more believable than after being born, surely.
I guess there's just a chunk of people in this country and in this world who literally don't care, and the only thing that resonates with them is, like, the worst case scenario fear-mongering and conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Because everything else is just too boring, I guess. Being like a normal human being, a normal politician seeking normal benefits for normal people just isn't cutting it.
I love when he was like, they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, they're eating the pets. The way he said pets was so funny. I wish I can't do a Trump impression.
They're eating the hamsters, they're eating our guinea pigs.
I ate several of my hamsters in my youth, chronic loneliness. But yeah, the moderator was like, did a fact check immediately and was like, we checked in with the mayor and they found absolutely no illegal cases of illegal immigrants eating pets. And then Trump was like, I saw it on television. I don't know why my Trump voice sounds like a robot. I can't go there. I can't get to
we
it.
Should do a robo-Trump.
With my vocal registry.
I love this quote. I sent Abdul from the Taliban a picture of this house, and he said, why are you sending me a picture of my house? And I said, you got to figure that out, Abdul.
I was Snapchatting Abdul. Great conversation. Mm-hmm. Yeah, his comments on the Taliban, I was like, he's wilding out. But originally when he brought them up, he's like, didn't he say something like, very bad people. Is like, maybe you've heard of them, the Taliban. But then he goes on to talk about how he's like low-key friends with them. I just loved all the times he was like accidentally helping her secure the progressive vote. Like he would like call her a Marxist, or like even when he was like saying she will allow abortion at any stage of the pregnancy, I was like, wow, queen, in my dreams.
Yeah, he misspoke and was like, she's always been against defund the police.
I know, he was A-capping so hard last night.
Oh yeah, and then he like blamed a cop for a killing that happened during January 6th. Trump really did say ACAB. Wow.
Yeah, he said it quite a few times, honestly.
I am trying to remember the moments that I really was impressed by her. She seemed like she had a few like one-liners just in the bag.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Trump, he's not thinking beforehand. You can tell she's running calculations and like thinking about how she's coming across and maybe like about gestures she's doing or these lines that she's practiced that she needs to get to. She's like prepared and you can kind of tell. Trump, he's so authentic. He's like not prepared. He's just, well, he had a few one-liners that he's like, I gotta get to migrant crime.
I gotta bring up Abdul.
But he's just rolling. He's like always just himself, which is like whatever pops into his head, that's what's coming out. Doesn't need a fact check, doesn't need grounding. It's just percentages.
Yeah.
Pull them out of the air. That's fine. That's the fun thing about numbers is they're imaginary. They don't exist in the real world. So you can do whatever you want with them. You can, in fact, 90% of the people watching this Claymation podcast, which constitute 75% of the total viewership on YouTube, agreed that numbers are totally made up and statistics don't matter. So,
and what's most important is just practicing radical vulnerability on the debate stage, radical embodiment of just whatever's coming into your brain in that moment. No kind of quality control going on, because that brings you away from the power of source, I think, ultimately.
It's aspirational, really.
It's very Claymation podcast of him to say, I have concepts of a plan. Like, that's what concepts, not plans. We've always said that here in the Clayverse.
Oh, God. It's so crazy that we listened to how many hours of that? And
it was 2.
I don't think I heard a single coherent, like, plan for anything. It was just like, she's bad. There's migrants coming across the border. They're going to kill us all. She's a communist and they're going to take away our guns. And it's like, what are you doing to fix any of this? Oh, she's evil. The transgender illegal aliens are coming. It's like,
I will say though, number one, you could tell that he doesn't like personally hate her the way he hated Hillary. Like, again, with like sometimes she would do a roast and he would be like, yeah, that was good. Like, you can tell he doesn't have quite the same, like, he's obviously like playing the part he needs to play, but I just felt like he hated Hillary and it showed in such a different way.
Because they were friends.
Who were friends?
Hillary and Trump. They were homies, and then now there's a rift. And
Hillary and Trump, yeah, and love and hate are so close together, yeah.
You know, that's got to be hard to see a friendship fall apart like that. Friendship breakups are so tough, and I think it's taken a toll on him.
They're so tough. Yeah, it doesn't get talked about enough. Adult friendship bracelets. Freudian slip. I want to make friendship bracelets with you, Tanner. But also, I was slightly like, obviously he was unhinged, right? If you listen to the content of anything he's saying, it's just complete gibberish. But I was genuinely, again, the bar is on the ground, but I was impressed with his ability to even finish sentences and thoughts. Like, for some reason, I thought he'd mentally degraded past that, because you know that meme where I think it was some like school teachers association or whatever, but they were like, what are you going to do to make childcare accessible? And he just like went on such a rant. I guess I was surprised he didn't ramble more incoherently. Like, there's been a lot of times recently where he literally like cannot finish a thought. But even though his thoughts were disjointed, like there was like a little bit of like flow to them sometimes, which impressed me, honestly.
Yeah, even if he wasn't answering the question per se, he was still completing a thought. He was, saying his bit.
Yeah.
With no references to late great fictional serial killers or electrocution sharks or anything like that, which is so impressive. I think he's just a model for the aging community of like how to hold it together. It's like, even if you can't answer questions directly, that doesn't mean you can't have a conversation, a publicly televised conversation. You can still just speak.
Yeah, the vibes can still be there. Because at the end of the day, isn't like 80% of communication just body language anyway? And I mean, his body language, impeccable. Consistent throughout the debate, easy to read.
Yeah, even though he didn't get into too many, like, off the wall. He was off the wall, just in the normal way, to the point where we were all kind of like, are we high, or is he just like not even clued into the question at all? And again, that's not what matters. Like, you say your bit. It's not about the question. It's about the response. Like, think outside of the box. So I think we should do a little exercise where we ask each other questions and then give responses that have nothing to do with the question, just to like stay sharp, because that seems like what he's doing to stave off the dementia.
I love that, because I feel like it is quite an important spiritual or mindfulness principle to recognize that sometimes you're asking the wrong questions, and it's not really about answering the question you think it's about answering. It's about just completely reframing your perspective, so that question actually isn't even as relevant as you think it is.
Right. It's about finding the question within.
Right, exactly. And he wasn't afraid to go within and be like, what's the question I want to answer right now, or not answer? So you want to ask each other questions and kind of just practice getting in that mindset?
Yeah, what's your plan to reduce inflation, or to deal with the ever-rising tide of inflation?
Robin Williams, incredible in Flubber. One of my favorite science movies of all time. It's harder than you think.
Flubber's non-binary, right?
Yes, asexual, non-binary for sure.
What's their citizenship status? Because they're obviously sentient.
Flubber.
Yeah. Citizen of the United States, passport carrier.
That's a good question. But not one that I'll be answering, because I'm concerned with different things, like how they're eating the pets.
My friend down the street was eating a dog. I told him, add a little cumin to that. It's going to taste bad unless you add a little cumin. And you know what? He added the cumin, and it tasted just like a taco. A dago, they're calling it. They're eating dagos, and it's delicious.
Can we talk about the level of acting that Kamala Harris was? Because to be in that, I mean, you have to be so nervous, even if you know you can wipe the floor with him. Like, what a nerve-wracking situation to be in.
Oh, yeah.
The level of composure she had throughout the whole debate, like, she didn't stutter once. And anytime she had like a brief moment where you could tell she was kind of like gathering her thoughts, she instantly like turned it into something useful. I don't know if it was on purpose, but there was a moment when she was like, this, and then she did a pause, and then she was like, former president.
My favorite was the condescending hand on the chin, like when a child is like telling you made up a confusing lie about who spilled the contents of the refrigerator all over the floor, and you just kind of look at them like, She kept doing that one a lot. I was like, that's got to be practiced. She's laying the suspicious mom card.
Yeah.
Playing that pretty hard, laying it on pretty thick.
Whoever trained her, and I'm sure some of it is her own instincts, but such an incredible job, because she managed to be so likable in a way that I just don't think Hillary was, even though, I mean, I don't find her as unlikable as maybe the average American, but whatever. Like, Kamala's way more likable than Hillary. I feel like she struck the perfect tone of like, she knew when to kind of just have like a stoic, concerned face, and then she knew when to just let herself laugh at something he was saying and just embrace the absurdity. Her facial expressions were impeccable. I just can't even imagine how much training had to happen. Or maybe it didn't. I don't know. She is very charismatic and good at her job. But yeah, she just didn't skip a beat. Like, everything was like note perfect as far as I could tell.
Yeah, she was very mother.
She really was, yeah. When she started laughing because he said they're eating the pets, I'm glad she let herself have a little laugh. Also, her laugh is so charming and likable.
I love that his nickname for her was Laughing Kamala.
It's like the nicest nickname.
Yeah, it's like, be like, I'm going to insult you by calling you friendly.
I know.
I hate a person who laughs.
God, she's good. And she looked incredible.
Oh, yeah, that fit was stunning. It was perfect.
Yeah, her fit, her face, her make, I mean, just everything. I just couldn't. She looked so presidential. It was wild. I also liked when she said, I'm going to do something a little bit out there and invite you to attend a Trump rally where people are leaving early because they're so exhausted and bored.
That was so nice of her to be, looking out for the little guy and trying to show support for smaller grassroots endeavors like Trump's campaign for those who are like dwindling and sick and barely holding on by a thread. Like, that was so nice of her to like see that and to reach out with a hand of compassion and try to like, give him a little boost, show him that he's not totally lost, give him a little confidence by inviting us out there. I thought it was a very kind thing to do to somebody so obviously struggling. And
Yeah, it felt very Great British Bake Off to me. Like when someone's already finished their showstopper and then someone else's cake's collapsing and they're like, yeah, you're my competition, but like you're so pathetic right now. Your Victoria sponge is on the ground. I'm just going to do what I can to like lift you up a little bit in this moment. I feel like that showed a real true alpha energy, you know, of like, I don't need to destroy you. Like your cake is going to destroy itself.
we know Paul Hollywood hates mint. You're never going to fly.
You'll never get him with a complex matcha flavor.
When does the Great British Baking Show start?
That's a good question, because didn't we talk about that on the Claymation podcast before?
We did. This show was built on the back of that show.
Yeah, I think it is. It starts up again in the autumn, so it should be soon, hopefully.
Well, that'll be nice. A nice refresher for the nervous system.
Yeah, definitely. Although also completely dysregulating once the violins start.
It is intense.
Mm-hmm.
But you feel better about it. I feel better about it somehow.
Yeah.
Most reality TV doesn't leave me feeling better at the end. I just feel distressed.
That's the thing. I really like the Mr. Rogers approach to making TV programs that I feel like the Great British Bake Off follows, where the drama is just in the Bake Off itself. We don't need to add unnecessary drama, because then it's just encouraging people to like bring that conflict energy into their regular lives. And I'm like, we don't need that. Like the hand pies were outrageous enough. I couldn't think of a single baked good in that moment.
Yeah, we don't need to add in like stir up interpersonal drama.
Yeah, let the pasties do the sparring. We don't need to personally be at each other's throats.
I think that's my issue, is like I have such low tolerance for drama generally. And
you do.
Like most reality TV is like, how do we invent more problems among each other? And I'm like, I don't need this. I can't. Why?
You are very low drama, which I love about you. I like reality TV shows where it's more focused on displaying sort of attachment insecurity, and you're kind of getting to see that play out rather than like just like I don't like when people fight in reality TV, if you know what I mean. I don't like the manufactured conflict of like Secret Lives or those shows, but I love seeing people get dumped on Love Island, I'll be honest.
Yeah, there's a certain amount of schadenfreude that must be nice, and a lot of people enjoy like observing interpersonal dynamics and maybe even learn from watching other people flailing about from all these contrived problems and arguments and being like, wow, I'm not going to be like that in the future, in my sphere, in my little Love Island that I've curated for myself.
I also just find it very satisfying when someone, for example, gets dumped on Love Island, and then the person getting dumped just handles it like an absolute like king, like just nails being so healthily differentiated and doesn't get unnecessarily offended. Is just like, yeah, totally see your point of view, and that's so bad. And then I'm always like, it's such a weird feeling of satisfaction I get when someone does that well, just holds their head high.
Then there's the other guy who's like, are you sure? Ronnie, you were on the zip line the whole time.
Tana, we're going to Costa Rica in less than 3 weeks.
Wow, that is crazy.
Crazy. And as of right now, it's supposed to be, it's raining there every day for like the next 10 days. So which I think could be beautiful. I mean, I miss rain a lot, not living in England.
Oh, yeah. I mean, rain is one of the things you sign up for when you take a trip to the rainforest.
That's true.
It's a fool's errand to expect no rain in the rainforest. What are you most excited for Costa Rica?
I think just to not be in Salt Lake for a week. Not that I don't love many things about Salt Lake, but you know, when you've been in Utah for too long.
Oh, yeah.
Or especially if you're not from here, I feel like it's, you know, you got to get out. I also just feel like I'm quite a homebody with working from home and stuff. So I think it will just be good to sort of be like on a school trip for a week and just like have a busy schedule and kind of just like a planned itinerary. Like we don't have to think about what we're doing for a week. It's just planned out for us. I think that's going to be nice because I get a lot of decision fatigue with how to spend my time.
Yeah.
What are you most excited for?
Probably for the like 2 hours that we get to just chill on a beach and not be driving somewhere or on a boat.
Yeah, hopefully all the travel stuff is fun because we'll be in a group. The views will be beautiful, but we'll see. Maybe the trip will be a complete disaster and we'll have to do a Clayverse recap and mine it for content and give refunds to everyone who went. I don't think that will happen.
Disasters are fuel for the fire, grist for the mill of content, which is the master that we serve, of course.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What else do we need to talk about in this? Oh, I actually have, this is from a while ago, but I have a few things, just a little bit of feedback saved from the last Clay episode that we did, which was a long time. I think we did our last episode in like March, but obviously one of the things that everyone loves about this podcast is its renowned healing abilities. We've had people cancel LASIK appointments because they've experienced spontaneous remission of vision problems, all kinds of stuff. And the latest comment that I wrote down is someone said, this podcast is so toxic that I haven't needed to get Botox. You have literally saved me from aging. And I just thought that was powerful because I'm like, I think this Claymation podcast is the most powerful neurotoxin on the market at this time. And we still give you that little bit of movement that makes it look natural. So everyone cancel your Botox appointments is kind of the takeaway there.
Yeah, it's like toad venom. It may be technically poison, but it's the kind that's good for you.
Are you talking about our podcast or the Botox?
Our podcast, which is even like 95% more effective than Botox. I personally was healed of chicken pox during the course of this episode. So that's nice.
Wow. Did you not have chicken pox as a child?
I've had them since a child, but thanks to this podcast, I no longer have chicken pox.
See, I am a shingles survivor, as you obviously know, but unfortunately the shingles came before this podcast, so I was forced to kind of just endure that. Although I found shingles like not that big of a deal for some reason. Everyone told me it was like the most painful thing they've experienced in their adult lives, and then I ended up not even needing to take any painkillers. So that was good.
Wow, just a minor shingle, huh? Yeah, the shingles I've witnessed have been really, really bad.
Yeah, I just got I had kind of like one or like a little cluster on my back, and that was it. And they went away relatively painlessly. There was a couple of days where I think I took an ibuprofen, but yeah. So that's on shingles. Something we could maybe just talk about, as we need to talk about it anyway, while we're here on this phone call together, is our shared Amazon Prime account.
Oh yeah, do I need to send you money for that?
We're very enmeshed when it comes to our Amazon Prime account in that we share an Amazon Prime account. And when we started sharing the Amazon Prime account a few years ago, it didn't really seem like that big of a deal because none of us really shopped as relentlessly on Amazon as we do now. And you didn't buy as many things on Amazon back then, I feel like. But now it's starting to feel almost more intimate to share an Amazon Prime account with you than it was living with you.
Yeah, because you get to see all my most intimate purchases and all my most scathing reviews that are done in your name.
I love how if you even search for something, then I'm getting those things come up on my stuff you might be interested in. Like there was a moment where there was a lot of jockstrap thong stuff coming up. I think that was maybe before E11.
I mean, in my defense, that was in preparation for Jared's stripper party. So
okay, so valid. Also, how's the lung cleansing tea been treating you?
So good. That stuff really works. Gets the mucus flowing like nothing else. And in a state with air quality this bad, I think I need more of it, TBH.
Yeah, they should give you a rebate for that in this state, honestly. We all need to get on lung. What is it about the tea that makes it lung cleansing? Is there an ingredient we're supposed to be consuming for lung health?
Mullein is really good for clearing out your lungs.
Mullein? Just having a little think.
There's some other things in there. That tea particularly, the Love Thy Lungs tea, it's like jam-packed. It's the biggest tea bag I've ever seen. Just chock full of delicious ingredients. It's a very powerful tea. It works.
Wow, stunning.
That's a free ad for that company. And their packaging is recyclable, which is great. Makes up for the fact that I order it off of Amazon.
I know, it's so hard living in a society.
It is. Now I'm trying to get stuff for Costa Rica. I just ordered some sunglasses, which I found today at my house opened already. So someone's committing federal crimes in my house.
It was probably Brisket.
Probably. He's a fiend.
He's a cool cat. He's always wanted shades.
That's true. He would look really good with some sunglasses.
You need to watch out for illegal immigrants eating him. Everyone protect your pets, I guess.
What do you think the most delicious pet would be?
Oh, I've thought about it. Yeah, it would for sure be Banksy. The other two seem like they would be stringy and just kind of gamey. I know I'm circling back to something we talked about right at the beginning, but when Trump gets his spray tans, do you imagine, because typically the way I would imagine he would get them is they'll bring like a little booth to your, I've never got one, but I've seen it in vlogs. They'll bring like a booth to your house if you're rich enough, which he is. And then you like get naked and stand there, and then someone with like a spray tan gun will like hose you down. I'm like, is Trump like getting naked and like getting us? It's just really funny to imagine like the spray tan occurring, because it's not like he'd have to, unless he's like, oh, maybe he's only doing his face and neck. But typically people do their whole bodies. But then when we've seen him in other situations, I don't know if his whole body has been sprayed. We've never really seen him below the neck.
No, thank God.
But I do just love the image of him having to like stand still and get the spray tan and then like stand there to dry for a while, and just a very funny image.
Now, maybe that's the guns that he's worried about being taken away. The spray tan guns.
Yeah. Do you ever worry that you don't have the right like voice tone to be a nice podcast? Like every time we're in the clayverse, even though it's not that different from YouTube, I become more aware that maybe my voice is grating or shrill, or, you know, I've got a little frog in my throat and I keep drinking water in this one, and I'm just like, can it be nice to listen to? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I've been told a lot that I have a face for podcasting and a voice for silent meditation, so I guess the combo is kind of tough, but
I've said it before and I'll say it again. My stepmother said you have a face for film, and she was right. Well, Tana, is this where we leave the Clayverse for the week? And also, are we going to commit to coming back a lot sooner this time?
yeah, if we can think of something funny to talk about.
That's the challenging thing, is it's hard to be funny. But it's a work in progress. It's a skill in progress. Obviously, all of our remarkably healed fans of the show are in it with us. We're creating shared lore together. Like, the Clayverse isn't just about us, you know? It's about everyone who has anything that they need to be healed.
That's right. Maybe we should take calls sometime.
Well, that would be quite the feat. So to close, is there anything you'd kind of like to share with everyone else while you're still in Clay and have the powers of Clay backing everything that you say?
Oh, I'm just thinking, I know I'm doing exactly what we shouldn't do. We should be following in the example of Trump and just being more, he's an improv artist really when it comes down to it. He is. Because he's not sitting around thinking like, what should I say? What is reality? What is a kind thing? There's no filters there. And I think I need to just get rid of my filters. And so with that, I'm going to just go ahead and say that those Galapagos iguanas that swim around are so cool. And I hope that we as the human species can make sure we're providing a home for them that will last many, many centuries and millennia to come, to the day that maybe we see iguanas' sentience and that we can share the gift of self-awareness about our own mortality together. And then maybe dying alone and afraid won't be so scary, because it'll be something that we're sharing with the iguanas. That's just what I would like to leave everyone with.
Tanner, I love that so much. I think that was the perfect place to end this podcast.
Do you have any last words?
Any last words? No. But I do think Kamala Harris embodied the principles of mime very well last night.
That's true. She did.
She said so much.
A time when she wasn't able to speak due to the microphone being cut out, she showed through body language and expression exactly how she was feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And even told me her, 2025 budget proposal just through her eyebrows, which I thought was really impressive, to communicate so much with so little.
Yeah, I think if she would have just added in a little bit of oriental mime gymnastics, to me, it would have been a perfect performance. But that was just kind of the one area where I felt like there was room for improvement.
Yeah, I heard they actually banned that for this year's debate due to the accidents of former debaters trying gymnastics routines that they were clearly unfit for.
Imagine if we did kind of a ray gun thing, but it's us with the world of mime, where we just somehow scam our way onto like the world mime stage, and everyone's like, they don't even know mime, they're not trained, and we're like, our training comes from within, it's intuitive, we're intuitive mimes, the secret fourth kind that they don't write about in the Wikipedia article.
Some mimes can talk and even argue.
We're the type of mimes that can talk, okay? It's 2024, wake up.
Reinventing miming, revolutionizing the art.
Yep.
Damn, kind of sucks how a mime could never stand witness at a trial without betraying everything that they hold dear.
I know. Do they have like a pleading the fifth or whatever, but for like for mimes? Like surely that's got to be like counted as, I don't know, religious freedom. There's got to be some kind of protection for mimes, surely, in that setting.
Yeah, they must have legal immunity. That's the only way.
Yeah.
They're
justice for mimes.
Protected class and ought to be.
Well, we look forward to reading how this episode impacts all of your lives. And I look forward to being back. It feels really nice to be back.
Thank you for joining us. Tune in next time.
And here's us giving you a little kiss on the forehead as we go.
Goodbye.